Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to RLCS Overtime for your Week 4 of Rocket League play. I'm your host, Wave Punk. I got a findable carpet here. I got some other people too. We'll get to them in a second, but I just want to spend some time right here. This is great.
Let's just have a moment, Wave.
Yeah.
How's it going?
This is the great show. We could just leave it right here. We don't. Why are you even here? Why?
It's messed up, guys.
This is like pretty.
You're basically almost roommates at this point. You're always hanging out together. You're always excluding me and Shogun just because we look alike.
We'll have our own little club. Whoa.
One of these. I mean,
you're who I want to grow up to be.
I didn't put this divide here. I didn't push you guys all the way over there. You guys decided to sit over there.
I don't think that is true. This is fake news, and I don't like it.
I feel like this is the gap in skill between the four of us. Carpet's all the way over there, I have finally overtaken Gibbs.
Oh, they found a way to turn it around on us. Dang it.
It's the only thing Shogun's got going for him, to be honest.
Let's as far as skill gaps are concerned, we are down here, and then everything we saw in RLCS is way up here. Let's get into North America recap for what happened in Week 4. It started off with exciting stuff from G2. This match went the full distance with Set to Destroy. It was about the best we had seen from them all season. They weren't able to pull out the win, though.
Speaking of skill gaps, a lot of people thought this might be a 3-0 for G2, the worst team in North America with Set to Destroy, going against one of the best in G2. But Set, it was their final matchup of the season, and they came out with a bang here.
Yeah, and also talking about turning things around, Set to Destroy almost managed to turn this one around as well, taking this all the way to Game 5, the best offense we have seen out of them all season, very strong rotations, but eventually just got taken out by those passing plays.
Well, it's a bit of a shame to see them struggle all season after making it in a qualifier on some substantial upsets as well. And this, I think, was the closest game we got a little bit of what we saw in the qualifier and what we saw them do to overtake such strong teams.
You see down here, like the game 1, it looked like we were kind of set for a normal G2 just raffle stomp, but Set to Destroy bounces back in games 3 and 4, sends us all the way to game 5.
And Set to Destroy, they were averaging 4.95 shots coming in. They averaged 6.6 against G2, and I'm not sure if that's so much Set, but G2's got to be worried about that. Giving up that many shots to a lesser team, they really got to fix this going forward. But Memory, 16 saves. He actually beat his average, which is already leading by a ton. But as we go forward here with G2 versus Take 3, we saw a shaky G2, and we see it here again.
Yeah, it really was a problem of we came out of that Set game wondering, is G2 playing bad or did Set do really well? I think it might have been a bit of both here because G2 looked atrocious in this matchup. They gave way too much space to a Take 3 squad that was on point.
Yeah, Take 3 really came out strong in this week. They end up going 2-0. Spoiler alert for about a minute from now. Take 3 had a great weekend here, but G2 did give them some favors. There was plenty of open nets from especially from Kronovi that we saw that just missing outright would have been the difference maker. This end of this game was crazy, as you see. Rizzo's shot almost will drop in, but does not go all the way into the net, and that means the end of that game. Take 3 takes the win, but that only would have sent them to overtime, which could have maybe sent them to game 5, so still, they missing the open nets early, killing them here.
So we haven't seen G2 a lot the past 3 weeks. They had one game, then they had a bye, then mid-season mayhem. It seemed like they're trying to change their play style, maybe to catch up to a team called Energy, and it seems like they're trying to test things out this week, which they probably shouldn't have done because all they had to do was go 2-0 this week, and they would have been a world championship team. Now they still have to battle it out in the following week.
I mean, if I had to describe their play style in one word, just pretty much that whole day, just sleepy. They seemed like they had just woken up, and they're like, oh, I almost forgot RLCS showed up. They all woke up kind of late, and they remembered they had to play. Nothing really seemed that coherent. The G2 we've seen all season, something that I hadn't even seen out of those players, knowing they were that strong, I was still pretty caught off guard, like, wow, these players are really impressing me. We didn't get any of that or any of the new style that they may or may not be implementing. It just seemed like they didn't really have a direction to go.
Yeah, now they're still tied up with NRG for that top spot in North America. And Take 3 looked fantastic. They end up going 2-0 this week, and now they are in the running for top 2 as well.
Yeah, we all thought that Take 3 might have a week where it's like, all right, their playoff hopes are done. Now they still have a chance at top 2. No one thought that they would beat G2, and they did it. They play NRG next week as well, so we'll see if they can prove another upset here.
Yeah, Take 3, they came in. This was really a 2-0 this week is completely against what we expected. We thought, as you said, that they were going to have difficulties next week, maybe having to win both games next week to even stand a chance of making that top 6. As you said now, top 2. It is available to them, and if they can get the right results, they can take it.
Well, the next match, they face off against Genesis, and they get the win here as well. This win here, giving them the tie. We were expecting this game to be kind of a head-to-head tiebreaker for the 6th place spot, but Take-3 really cemented themselves into the running for top 2 here.
Yeah, Take-3, huge win here. We thought that this match might be the one, whoever loses this would be out of playoff contention. And honestly, I thought Genesis speed would be too much for Take-3, but they showed up against G2. That was a big warm-up for them, plus the win, and then they come out and beat Genesis. They get their revenge from the qualifier where they lost to them, so they have to be happy about that.
I mean, coming into a week that's this powerful, going against the team that you know you're kind of in the head-to-head against and playing against G2, I can't imagine they expected this week to go this well for them. I mean, to take G2 in a 3-1 nonetheless, not even a Game 5, it's just really impressive.
Yeah, and Genesis, they were not playing bad during this game at all. Maybe it was a case of the fact that Take-3 were coming into this so warmed up and so motivated from their previous win that they couldn't quite overcome it. But this is not a case that we look at this and go, Genesis didn't turn up. No, they were playing really good.
Genesis played well in this match, and they also played well in the following game against NRG, which went to 4 games. But Genesis now, as they dropped this series, and they dropped this series against NRG. No, they take the win here against NRG. Almost messed that one up. But still, with their record, they are now at 2-3. They're tied with Denial, who's the first team they face off against next week. That might be the de facto head-to-head tiebreaker that determines who makes it in now.
So this was a virtual must-win for Genesis. And honestly, like, after you lose to Take-3, that's really demoralizing. You expect that Energy's going to come in, probably the best team in North America right now, and would just smack them around. But Genesis, they did beat them a couple weeks back in the Astro tournament as well. So it seems like there's some conflict there for Energy. They can't keep up with the speed of Genesis at times.
I mean, conflicting play styles is a really big part of it. We talk about why NRG usually just messes everybody up with their unique play style, their pacing, their spacing out. And Genesis, they don't care who they go against. They're just going to go as fast as they possibly can, interrupt whatever you think you have thought out, and just screw you up.
Yeah, Genesis, it's really, and we'll see it later on in Europe as well, that controlled style against a team that is entirely up to pace. If you're the control team and the other team is playing their positioning well, that is a very big detriment to you.
And Chrome, we don't know how many demolitions he got, but so many of them were so crucial. He had like a double bump for a goal, then the last goal to clinch that victory. He destroys, I believe, his Fireburner in net, and Energy was not ready for that.
This is where I thought you were going with this, Shogun, is that we saw such physical play there from Genesis, a big part of what was breaking up the play style from NRG. But NRG going up against Selfless next, they were pissed.
And this was a big game for top 2. Selfless, this is basically their only chance to get top 2 was to win this series because they are done for the season. They have one very minor scenario where they could get top 2, which we'll talk about later, but kind of a tough loss for Selfless here. They had to play a mad Garrett G, and you never want to do that.
I mean, Garrett G is definitely someone that's usually on fire, but when he knows he's at a situation where he might lose an opportunity that he knows he had in the grasp, all 3 of them playing really well. Selfless is a team that I have always been a small fanboy of. Spoiler alert, I guess, for the innards that go on in my brain. I've just loved watching them. I was, a little let down that I didn't get to see them in Season 2, but here they are, Season 3. They're performing well. They've clinched a playoff spot, so they're in a good space, but they have to make sure they perform in the coming weeks.
Yeah, this week we saw Selfless and Set to Destroy finish off their league play. So Selfless is secured atop playoff spot, and with a very weird situation, which we'll get into later, they could potentially make it into the top 2. Most likely not going to happen, but them and Set to Destroy done. They'll be watching next week as the play happens. Set to Destroy has secured that they are done for league play this week.
So Selfless has 3 weeks now until probably a quarterfinals game, and my question is, do you practice with Timmy on those only 4 days that you have on the weekends? Or do you bring Pluto in and try and get practice in during the week and see which one works out? Because it could come down to one best of 7 to see if you go to the World Championships.
And there's a bigger question that comes to this. There's a lot of questions when it comes to Selfless. Who do they play, Timmy and Pluto? Coming into this as well, they are now on a 3-game losing streak. They did really well at the start of the season, but it's now starting to drop off. Maybe Timmy's lost his luster. So Gibbs brings up a huge point that is a decision they have to make, and that could see whether or not they go to LAN.
I do want to bring up, Pluto is the only one that has RLCS LAN experience. everyone else on the Selfless roster, this is their RLCS debut. They've never been here before.
Which could be deadly if they make it to land, but they have to go through the playoffs here. So big things on the line here for Selfless as they enter into the playoffs. But it was an exciting week of plays as well. The top 5 plays for North America were just as high flying as usual. We'll get things started off with a save actually from Zane Jackie.
So this was the end of the G2 Take 3 series. Zane Jackie just has to make a desperation save right there. Beautiful save, and then G2 just keeps throwing on the pressure. And Rizzo, he had 8 shots this game. He needed this one to actually go in though, and by 2 pixels, it does not. Zane just watching that ball hit the goal line. Extremely lucky for Take 3, but they'll take it for sure.
Now, we talked about Chrome's physical play, also matched by Pondex over in Europe, but here we're talking about Chrome. Watch him get this double bump on the goalies to get them out of the way and just open up the shot here for his teammates.
Just watching the name tag fly across the screen is something that's got to be so satisfying, especially when you're the one about to take a shot. But he gets not just 1, but 2 bumps. He ends up kind of stomping on another player there as opposed to clearing the first one. Just so effective.
Yeah, we haven't seen plays like that. I've seen a triple bump once, and that came out from Fireburner. But Chrome and the rest of that squad really showed that maybe a speed-based, physical style of gameplay can really work at this level. And next up, Jacob from NRG. You said earlier on they were really annoyed. In this game, he decided to put on his MMA gear and pin the ball against the wall, putting that one towards his teammate.
This is the stuff we're used to seeing from Jacob. Let's make the ridiculous wall dribble. Let's just dribble the ball on the wall and set it out to your teammate. There was 2 defenders up there. Neither of them knew what to do with it.
And of course, Jacob, he's that wild card where you don't know how his passes will come out to the open field, but Fireburner's been playing with him forever, so he knows what's coming while the opponents don't, and beautiful play there from Jacob.
Now, we've already had 1 play from Chrome as far as bumping goes. He gets a demo here as well, and they immediately capitalize with the goal. The physical plays, we brought it up. This is the big thing that Genesis brought up against NRG that gave them the win.
And that was the clinching goal, too. 3 seconds left in Game 4, extremely tight series, one that Genesis had to win, and Chrome comes out big.
I just remember watching it too. I'm like, why did you get that down when the ball's nowhere near? Oh, there it is. There it goes. Like the shot came so shortly after.
Follow-up shot there, but it's always G2, the top of our plays of the week. JNAP's here, the team play, coming out, able to get the goal there. Just such excellent placement.
They didn't have the greatest week, and in this game as well, they're down 3-0 with a minute left, but G2 knows how to do passing plays. They weren't connecting a lot this week, but that play was just beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I really want to see more out of them. That's what we had seen so much coming up to this week. So it was really odd to see them really struggling to just find each other. Usually it's the first thing they do is they're like, all right, you're there, I'm here. We're going to do some give and goes. I mean, the most give and goes I've seen this season have been from G2.
Yeah.
So the fact that that's pretty much the only one, and it made #1. That was pretty much the best play we saw all weekend, but that's the only one we saw out of them.
For sure, but they have only dropped 1 series so far. They're tied up with NRG in the top of the standings. So you can see #1 and #2 gunning to try and get the automatic berth into LAN. And still very much with those 3 through 6th place teams, kind of anybody's game. Selfless, the only team who has absolutely secured.
Yeah, there's 5 teams that can get a top 2 spot, but we'll talk about that later. It's extremely close. Genesis and Denial, though, they play in that first matchup next week. That's going to be a big one.
Yeah, and the important thing here is to note, G2 and NRG play next week. One of them is guaranteed to lose because they are taking on each other. Take 3 and Atelier, they are going to play twice next week. So one of those 2 teams can guarantee themselves 2 wins and possibly try and take that head-to-head tiebreaker.
Absolutely. It would be crazy to see if it happened. I cannot wait to get into league play for week 5. Let's take a look at the schedule. We've mentioned it a few times. We'll start off the week with Genesis versus Denial, possibly the head-to-head tiebreaker that will determine who makes it in and who is out and who is done for the season.
And we have 6 games instead of 5 that we've been showing the past few weeks. And honestly, that G2 Sports versus Genesis, it could come down to that for Genesis to even make playoffs.
Yeah, both of those 2 teams have got really tough second matches that day. So it might be a must win. Genesis, though, if we see more of this, and we see this fast-paced demo style from them again, I really think they can start climbing up these ranks. I think even a playoff spot might be underselling them if they play like that again.
We will see all of that next week. I cannot wait. I bet you guys can't wait either. It's going to be an exciting weekend of Rocket League, but we still have a show to do here. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we got an interview with Dapper. It's going to be great to talk to him. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.